happening. I hit
There we
go
go.
live. A
There's a
premium
thing that
account on
says
Twitter
live.
is required. Alrighty, we're live on everything but X. According to StreamYard, we are not cool enough to be live on X. Elon Musk, I'll bring this up with you later today. Adam, I appreciate you being here. Nick, it's amazing to see you back in America. And I'm calling this our summer special because who knows if we'll even be able to pull one off in August. But appreciate you guys being here today as we go live across several platforms this afternoon.
If you see me looking down, it's because I'm trying to figure out how to follow along with comments on Facebook as this goes through. I'd like to see what people have to say about stuff.
Awesome. Now, Adam, I just
Yeah, I
lost all
think
my
I got to
kids
set up on the
Monday.
group. We'll see.
Cool. I know
There we
you've got a lot going on in the background on your side too, but I appreciate you being here. I think I got two topics that would be fun to discuss to forever who tunes in or watches in the future. One of them, we're going to talk Prosperity Life exiting the market today, God rest its soul. And the other, Medicare really staying the same. Status quo, everybody can still make money fairly come this AEP. So how's that sound for this afternoon's conversation?
Sounds like a good time.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. So we'll start on the life side with Adam. Since he's got the life side, we'll go to Nick on the health side, but we'll get both of their opinions along the way. Another carrier dropped off the market. Prosperity is done as of today. As someone with 20 years of experience in the industry, Adam, and somebody whose videos have gotten hundreds of views on this topic, what do you think about Prosperity exiting the market?
Well, I guess just another one bites the dust. I mean, honestly, I never really did a whole lot with Prosperity. Did a little bit of business with them, not a ton. I don't really know a whole lot about the background of them. Again, I mean, I think a lot of it just comes back to profitability and just ways of doing business. I think about maybe some things that they offered that others didn't. I know they did accept the Direct Express card, others didn't. Maybe that was something too that affected them. We all know persistency for the most part, when you're taking the payment off of a credit or debit card, especially like that Direct Express, it's usually not the best quality business. So, I mean, I don't know how much that played in effect in the reasoning, but I think a lot of it comes back to like what we've talked about with just a lot of these big giant IMOs with inexperienced agents that are in and out of the business with nobody there that's keeping up with their business after they leave. And that leads to the roll up debts and who knows? I mean, it probably gets to the point where even people in the uplines are out of the business because they're not paying people's debts back either. So I think a lot of that probably has I think a lot of that plays a bit of a role in some of these carriers not being able to stay in business. So,
Yeah,
like I said, I never really did a whole lot with them. I don't know a whole lot about them outside of like what I mentioned, with like the Direct Express and as far as underwriting and all that stuff. I mean, I never really dug too deep in with them.
So Nick, one of our friends in the industry, Ben Bowman, made a comment on another Facebook group. We don't have enough Facebook groups discussing insurance at this point, but he was discussing debt prevention basically. And I know we've tackled this topic, but as we talk about Prosperity exiting the market, one of the things that he mentioned, I would love to get your opinion on. And he said that the best way to avoid roll up, and I'm paraphrasing, is that when you're working with agents, and this protects the carriers as well, the agents have to have some kind of a lead plan. The plan can't just be, here's your contracting link. And Prosperity made it stupid easy to get contracted. Adam got contracted in like 17 hours with Prosperity.
Yeah.
But agents getting contracted, working with agencies and not having a strategy, a lead program, an option to go work, is that kind of what ends up hurting these carriers, is marketers not putting people towards pathways towards success?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it probably is. It's sort of mind-blowing to me that anybody would be recruiting agents to go under them without making sure that those agents had a plan in place. I mean, and that plan in place could be, do what I tell you. This is the plan. But I know that was the very first thing when I started agreeing to contract with agents. The very first thing that I was told by the person who was giving the advice was, make sure that anybody that you're contracting has a marketing plan or a budget in place. And if they don't contract them.
Don't work with them. Yeah.
You know, and listen, like the people that I contract under me for Medicare stuff, like we're in a sort of a unique situation. I'm only working with people who have experience and who've had success and have some time under their belt and a book of business and blah blah blah. You know, I'm not working with just anybody in the first place. So everybody that I talk to kind of is already on a lead program of some sort by the time that I'm talking to them. But it is wild to me that anybody would come into this business without some sort of lead program. I mean, even like listen, I'm not a big fan of Project 100s, but like even a Project 100 or like handing somebody the phone book or something, there needs to be something. Right? Something in place, and it needs to be coming from the top, right? This is not a thing that should be agent directed, especially if they're new agents. If you're contracting people who are inexperienced and have not been doing this before, it is not up to them to be expected to know how to market insurance. You know, that is your marketing organization's job. It's in the name.
Yeah. Adam, we were talking this morning on our Friday call, which your featured call. And we're basically saying in my open, you've got 5 options. You've got the direct mail program. You've got Facebook lead options. You've got aged lead options. If you can't afford at least $450 a week, you've got the free lead program where we, really drill down and take care of everything with really high level scrutiny. But option 5 is not an option anymore. Like, let's be real with the world. Doing nothing is just, you're not working. Like, go get a real job. And I think our group receives that information well because they understand that it comes from a realm of respect. But it's like Nick is saying, like, you're not going to just send someone a contracting link and so hope something happens, because eventually what happens is you get roll up from that situation or nothing happens. Right, Adam?
Yeah. I mean, my experience, working with that company for 7 years, anytime we came into a situation where there was a whole bunch of debt, it usually was somebody who had this unique situation. Had nothing to do with leads, had nothing to do with anything else. It was just always some sort of unique situation where they just came across all this business, some unique scenario where they're able to find all this business. And pretty much every time it came back to some sort of fraudulent way of doing business. So I've always felt when you're working with a group of agents, it really does help when, from a management standpoint, it helps. And it's more of like a comfort thing to know that agents are involved with some sort of program, whether it's direct mail, Facebook. To me, it doesn't matter. But if I know they're working leads and they're generating business, I feel much more comfortable with their business because I know where it's coming from. When they have these unique situations and they don't really have a lot of info to share as far as how they're generating that business, to me right away, that's a red flag. And it's kind of scary because you just never really know what could happen. It's like, and a lot of guys, I think maybe a little bit off topic, but talking about like the roll-up debt and stuff, a lot of uplines, they don't even think about the debt until it's there. Like, they're happy when the business is coming in, all this business is coming in. They're not even really looking or doing their due diligence with figuring out where all that business is coming from. They're just happy to see all the business coming in and the overrides that they're earning. But it starts to sting when that business starts to fall off. So I think it's very important to have agents that are involved with some sort of lead program. Like I said, I think it's more of a comfort thing than anything.
Yeah. Nick, I got some thoughts that came to mind that I'd love to get your opinion on.
Sure.
But that couldn't be more true what you're describing. I had an agent years ago, hard hitter, hard worker, great guy. I had him in my car. I physically met him on several occasions. He was on our calls. He bought leads. I was making $300, $400, $500 a day off of him and overrides, and I was earning my overrides. Let's not play here. And then all of a sudden it went south. And what I wasn't noticing is that a lot of the business he was submitting was on fake bank accounts, and it was just purely bad business. But because I had a close enough eye on the day-to-day, the debt was only like $20,000, only 20,000. But these guys that are describing bigger debts than that, I think it's because they weren't ever looking. Like they had no idea what was happening. It happens in situations like this. Follow me on this one, Nick. I had a contracting email come through, and a contracting department says this agent has submitted contracting for Lafayette Life. His upline has been terminated. Do you want us to process this contract? I'm like, who is that? So I texted the guy, I knew who it was, and the guy didn't answer. Then he didn't answer again. Then he didn't answer again. I think most uplines, Nick, would have said, sure, process that contract. Let's get paid. I, on the other hand, I'm like, this mother effer hasn't said a word to me in 6 months, won't answer a text message. There's no way I'm letting them process a Lafayette Life contract for him. Like,
Yeah.
What would you do in that scenario?
I know it's the same thing, the same thing as you. Holy cow. Like so I don't contract life insurance agents, right? And I had somebody contact me and he was like, listen, like I would like to put my life insurance with you also, not just my Medicare stuff, just so I have everything in one place. I'm in a unique situation. He's a PNC guy. He's like, so he's like, I've got all of these clients and I just want to have everything in one place. I don't want to have to go and track down somebody else for my life insurance contracts and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, sure, fine. I was like, do you have any experience with life insurance? And he's like, I have some experience with life insurance. I did life insurance a few years ago. I haven't done life insurance in 4 or 5 years. I'm just purely going to be working my book of business for my PNC agency, and cross-selling the Medicare and final expense. And that's really all I want to do. I'm writing, large numbers of people a month. I was like, okay, well, you know what? This is not normally what I do, but I get kind of what your reasoning is. And, we kind of worked some stuff out and went through to put through the contracts and came back. And immediately Mutual of Omaha was like, hey, so he's got a vector hit with like 4 different companies. None with us, but like, we think we don't want to contract him. What do you want to do? And I was like, oh, so, hey, buddy. What's going on with the vector hit across 4 different companies? And he's like, I have no idea. I didn't think I had any debt with anybody. And that was a month ago, and I haven't heard from him since.
Yeah.
Wrong answer. Like,
wrong answer.
Right.
To be honest.
Like, yeah. Like I'm not putting through those contracts. Like you had to kind of talk me into it in the first place. That's not what I want. I'm not gonna, I'm not going to give you a Mutual of Omaha contract. I'm not going to give you a Polish Falcons contract. I'm not going to give you an anybody contract because, you owe Americo $10,000 from 4 years ago and you have not paid it yet.
I mean, who doesn't know? Who doesn't owe Americo $10,000?
Right. But be that as it may, like it is a problem, right? I feel like, and coming back to Bowman, he posted something else completely irrelevant to this conversation, but part of the post was, I am referring a service that I work with to other business owners. Like there's a service that I use that is looking for some additional clients, and they are looking for a business owner. So if you are not a business owner, please do not contact me. Because this is not for you. This is not something that is going to cost you $500 a month. This is not something that's going to cost you $1,000 a month. This is something that is going to cost you a lot of money, but it will be worth it if you are a business owner. Mm-hmm. And I feel like so many of the people who come into this business and start recruiting people are not coming into it from the mindset of, hey, we're starting a business. Like a business that could potentially generate millions of dollars of income and will probably need to have hundreds of thousands of dollars of overhead in order to actually function, the way a business does. And most people come into this business being sold a multi-level marketing scheme. And people yell back all the time whenever you call something multi-level marketing. Isn't all business a pyramid? No, it's not all a pyramid. Like if you've got skin in the game, if you've got capital, if you have structure, you're a business. And if part of your business is making overrides, that's a different situation. If part of your business is hiring people, that's a different situation. But if all you are is a guy who's handing out contracts to people and you're making $5 off of every cut, you're Mary Kay. Like, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but the stakes are a little bit higher here, and people have
Mhm.
like crushing debt is a real possibility if you do this wrong. Like
Well, Nick,
genuinely crushing debt. I know
yeah.
more than one person who is out of the insurance business entirely and is like working like fast food jobs because of crushing debt that they got from recruiting wrong.
Well, let me share some insight on that because our agency works with that financial firm and it is not cheap. It's massively expensive. It's actually physically painful each month. But to me, it reminds me of what it's like to buy leads for the first time because it also comes with a significant amount of recruiting leads. I just had a recruiting conversation. Get this, guys, with a gal working in the French Quarter, cold canvassing to sign people up to donate money to like the Audubon Society.
Oh, wow.
And she gets $26 an hour. If she doesn't enroll 8 people a week, she gets fired. She gives 150 approaches over the course of a day to enroll 8 people to make $26 an hour. Hey, I said, if you can do that exact same thing with leads and you help 5 people a week, you're making $60 an hour. Here's how you sign up for the course. Those kind of conversations, but also the financial management. And I had debt with American Amicable recently. No idea. Not that much. It's like 3,000 to 4,000. It happens. And I didn't have time to notice it. But I get an email from the financial company, the person I work with there. She's like, why do you have this debt? And what is it from? And why is it there? And I'm digging into it right now. Oh, okay. I had no idea. It's supposed to be there. There's nothing fraudulent. It's not roll up. It's just life.
Right.
But if she would have had her eyes on my literal bank accounts and my commission statements before, I don't think I would have had a $20,000 roll up. So is it expensive? Absolutely. But it's part of operating a business. And you said something about overhead. A business has significant overhead. We've got an invoice due every Friday for, I don't even know how much, for the appointment team, for the admin team. You've got 2 VAs that work with you. That's overhead. That shit's expensive. Overhead that doesn't go away just because everybody isn't using the appointment team. But that's what a business does. Sometimes they operate at a gain. Sometimes they operate at a loss. But I just don't think there's enough conversations like you're saying about this business actually being a business. Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. We think about like, I'm just sitting here. I know Nick mentioned earlier, talking about like the multi-level marketing and how a lot of people say, well, all agencies are multi-level marketing. And I mean, yeah, if you're getting an override, I mean, I guess there are layers there, but I mean, I don't know. I think there's more to it than to me, when I think about multi-level marketing, I think about agencies where they bring on agents that are brand new to the business and they're pushing them to recruit like before they even know what they're doing. Like they look at that as like a part of their business. Like, you write business, but then you also want to be recruiting people. To me, that's multi-level marketing. Like it's different if you know what you're doing and you're bringing on agents. Like I don't know. I never want to have brand new people bringing on people when they're supposed to be the ones doing all the work and the training and everything else. And how can you train somebody if you don't know what you're doing yourself? So to me, I don't know. That's at least maybe, I don't know, maybe you have a different definition, but that's kind of what I would consider multi-level is, yeah, there's layers when you're building an agency, but if you don't know what you're doing and your agency's pushing you to recruit, to me, that's more of like a multi-level marketing sort of thing.
Yeah. If the product is the people you're recruiting, if that's your product, I'm not going to say bad. Plenty of MLM situation, but that's an MLM situation. If your product is life insurance and everything is revolved around selling life insurance, that's a different situation. So, I mean, take a look at your situation. And is your situation more focused on the sales of life insurance, or is it more focused on the selling other people on the dream of selling life insurance? If it is focused on selling the dream of selling life insurance, the balance is wrong.
But I gotta slightly disagree, and I think that's why we make good content. part of recruiting is selling the dream. Like if I don't give a little bit of dream in the conversation, it's hard to get them. If you're not selling the vacation destination, how are you ever going to get there? It's another way I've heard it described before. Like if somebody said to me, "Hey, this is the job." Okay, that's a job, but where does it really get me in the end?
Let me
Yeah,
ask
it's
you a
just as
question,
much.
Chris.
Go
Let
ahead.
me ask you a question. When you're selling that dream, are you selling it on selling life insurance, or are you selling it on how much money they could make if they sell other people the dream of selling life insurance?
It's absolutely, if you do exactly what you're doing right now, canvassing and
Right.
selling Audubon Society subscriptions, but now you sell life insurance, you're going to make double the money.
So that's the difference. The difference is in an MLM, you would go to her and say, now, if you do exactly what you're doing now, but you recruit other people to sell life insurance for you, you'll be making, right? You're not selling what you're doing is getting people to sell life insurance.
Mhm.
What an MLM is doing is getting people to sell people. Right? That's the difference.
Well,
I could
this when I was looking to make a move a couple years ago, I talked to this one agency owner that he was part of like one of these MLMs, and I just kind of asked him like their process when it came to like bringing on agents and like new agent not recruiting but new agent training and that. And he sent me like basically a breakdown of like what they do. And it was, you bring the new agent in, and then right away, first thing they want you to put a list together of people that you know. They want you to go sell all the people that you're just practicing your presentation, but you want to talk to people that and hopefully that maybe they'll buy something from you. And their goal was to write 5,000 in premium a week off of people that and then the other part of their new agent training was, we need you to give us names of 10 people that would also like to know about the opportunity that we can market to. And that was like brand new licensed person. Who else can we invite to this opportunity? Like that's right away. I'm like, yeah, that's not for me. That's not the path that I'm looking to go moving forward. I'm all about bringing on new agents, but the thing is, I mean, I kind of understand why they do that, because when a new agent comes on board, they just got licensed. They're like at the peak of like their excitement. And like, they're much more willing to tell people about an opportunity when they're up here. Once they get out in the field and they realize, man, this is actually hard work. Like I can make good money, but this isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
Not everybody makes it. Those people that were up here, now they're down here. They're not telling anybody about the opportunity. So, I mean, I kind of get it, why they do it, makes a little bit of sense. If anything, I'd get people like that maybe to bring people to me and tell them, look at, as soon as I feel like you're ready, I'll move those guys over to you. But until then, it's really to your best interest to not have people under you, because you don't have anything there that if the business falls off, I mean, how are you going to pay the debts back? Where if anything, I can move those agents over to that person in time. But I mean, I get why they do it, but yeah, like I said, I don't know, not for me.
Yeah. Nick, I'd love to get your opinion on something, because you just went away for 2 weeks, went to Italy. Great Italian food, ironically, in Italy, like we were joking about. But having a good balance in the summer, because we all have kids here, we all have businesses to run, personal production to write, agents to service and such. Work-life balance in the summer. What are your thoughts on that?
I think work-life balance is extremely important. And honestly, if it wasn't for the schedule of schools and stuff, I would probably say summer is sort of the worst time to be doing it. If you don't have kids, if you're not working Medicare, maybe middle spring, early fall is the better time to be doing stuff. But if you're having to work around school schedules and stuff, summer's the time that you have. And it is important. It is important. The single most important thing for you becoming successful in the insurance industry is making sure that everybody in your life that is close to you is fully on board, that they are 100% on team, let's go run this business. And being able to say to your wife or husband or partner or boyfriend or girlfriend, hey, why don't we take 2 weeks and go to Italy and Switzerland and like go eat amazing food and see sights and go on hikes and, you know, climb mountains and like completely unplug for 2 weeks and then come back and, you know, life resumes. Really goes a long way towards getting your spouse, partner, significant other on board with the idea that this is a good idea. It's not the only way to do it. You know, I know I made a promise to myself when I started doing this, that one of the reasons why I was going to do this was so I could make sure that I was at every ballet recital for my daughter, that I was at every sports tournament, at all the major events, at doctor's appointments, at whatever. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made. So you have to pick the things that you're not willing to sacrifice and hold on to those so that you can then let go of other stuff and say, hey, listen, my entire family, everybody in my life, all of my friends know that if they want to try and contact me on a Monday, they are out of luck. Nobody's talking to me on a Monday. You will not see me. I may as well be dead. You know, I leave the house at 8 a.m. I get back late at night. Nothing else is happening on a Monday. That's just the way Mondays go. And because of that, I have the ability to sometimes take 2 weeks and go to Europe and go to my child's fencing tournaments and ballet recitals and graduations. And I never missed a Halloween parade for her school in, you know, 14 years that she's been doing Halloween parades. Like, these are important things. Why are you doing this if it's not for that? Right? Like, it's a hard job. If you're not doing it for, you know, your home life, your family, the lifestyle that this can create for you, what's the point? There are lots of ways that you can make a lot of money that
are less stressful.
Yeah, that are less stressful. But there are none that allow you the kind of flexibility and freedom that this job allows you.
Well said. Adam, I know recently you've been trying to feels almost like rebuild your house. No, it's just the deck, but it seems like that at times, I'm sure. And you decided this week to utilize the appointment team to be more flexible with the things that you needed, but you still worked. I mean, talk about the value of flexibility, but still holding on to your work obligations, kind of like what you did this week.
Yeah, you know, like I was saying, I mean, my kids, I kind of feel bad because this summer, like every weekend, my wife and I've been out in the back working on rebuilding our deck. We thought it was going to be an easy project. It ended up being a little bit more taxing than we thought it was going to be.
Decks are just a nightmare, man.
Good. And the way they built it was just so cheap that, you know, we took off the original boards. We were getting the Trex boards, you know, like the composite. Yeah, sure. And so we took the original boards off and we were just looking at just the way they built this thing. And it was built like just total garbage. I started taking like all the framing boards off and got down to really the beam was all that was left, the beam and the posts, and the beam completely fell over. The posts were not even cemented into the ground. They weren't even like attached to the ground. And so I'm like, man, I'm glad that we are rebuilding this when we are. I mean, who knows? I mean, in time, the whole thing could have just fallen over.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah, it's turned into a long project. And I just, you know, I feel bad because, you know, my kids every weekend, you know, they're wanting to do stuff. And, you know, we're in a great neighborhood where there's lots of kids and they got other people to play with. But I mean, we just haven't devoted enough time to them. So this week I said, look, I want to try to knock this out this week. Let's just try to get this thing done. And usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm out in the field from 9 a.m. till about 9 o'clock at night. I had them set my schedule from 2 o'clock with my last appointment at 7 o'clock. they were able to set me like 5, 6, 7 appointments each day for those 3 days. So, I was still able to put the time in, not as much time, but because I had so many people to see just in that short amount of time, it still was, rather productive week. So, yeah, that's one thing I do like about the flexibility of our business. Monday, I took the kids to the beach in the afternoon, kind of the same thing, just kind of felt bad because the whole weekend we were spending out working on this deck. So yeah, ready for it to be done. But yeah, it is great having that flexibility where I don't have to call into somebody to say, hey, is it okay if I do this? Is it okay if I do that? As long as I'm responsible with my business and figure out ways to make the same amount of money that I'm used to making every week. Well, pretty cool.
Yeah, Nick, I think what's interesting is because Adam and you and I hold that kind of responsibility very sacred in a way. Some people lose track of that. Like they're never working. They're always off. And before you know it, they have more and more excuses as to why they're not working. I had a conversation with an agent this afternoon that said he wasn't going to be purchasing leads. And I said, all right, well, it's the free lead program then. Like nothing's just not an option anymore. And I love you and I respect you, but this doesn't work. Got to do something.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what my problem is? He says, my problem is activity. Okay, thank you. I
Sure.
can't fix that. I can't finance that. I can't fund that. That's a you problem, and we can fix that. We can track it. But I think so many times agents struggle with the flexibility and become too free with themselves before they've earned that right. Like, what do you think about that?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, without question, yes. I don't know what to do about it because I have a hard time understanding people who aren't willing to put in enough work to make sure that ends meet. Right?
Yeah.
Like it is hard for me to wrap my head around somebody who's going to say, well, I needed to make, I needed to write $5,000 of business this week in order to pay all my bills. And I only wrote $2,000 worth of business this week. And I know what I need to do to make up that $3,000 gap, but I'm not going to. I have a real hard time understanding that person. I know these people exist.
Yeah.
I think the one that I see that is more common, and I was just talking to a mutual friend of ours, John Duggar, about this, and he disagrees with me. He thinks that he actually thinks that I'm wrong. That
You mean John disagrees with somebody about something?
But he thinks that I'm wrong. That most people just aren't built to be able to do this, and that most people, no matter how much time and effort you pour into them, there are either people who are built to be able to do this and have that kind of internal sense of responsibility and drive, and people who aren't. But I find that in my experience, the people that have the hardest time are the people who don't have a wife, they don't have kids, they don't have even really a life partner. They're just like single person on their own. They only need, they're oftentimes young in their 20s. They only need, to make $66,000 a year to be like the richest person that they know. And so they can go out and they can write like $6,000 in production one week and then just take the rest of the month off. And they're like cool with that. And so they never get a rhythm. They never find
Rhythm. That's key.
Yeah. They never find a process that works for them. And my feeling is like sometimes I think these people need more things to tie them down and keep them pushing through.
Should they have kids, like reproduce real quick?
Yeah, right.
Here's your
Right.
prosperity contract. Who's pregnant? Like,
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, and it's almost like, and I feel bad because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, well, isn't that just the kind of the same thing that like NASB would say, where they would be like, oh, go out and go buy yourself a Mercedes now, so that you've got a $1,000 a month car payment that you need to make, so that but like if you have $1,000 a month car payment that you need to make, maybe you're going to go out and push a little harder to go make that fourth sale. I don't know what the answer here is because I'm not wired that way, right? Like I'm like I probably am wired too far the other way. I do too much. I work too hard. I spend less and less time in the field, and like my production, if you look at my production over the last couple of years, it has been very steady, but kind of very, 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 very slowly declining as I'm going from 4 days a week in the field to 3 days a week in the field to 2 days a week in the field to now I'm 1 day a week in the field. But yet I'm also like, my calendar is entirely booked every single day, 5 days a week, because there are other things that I'm doing that are also important, that are money making things for my business. And I don't understand people who don't do that. I just don't. I have a real hard time with it.
Adam, is it that people just need a big enough why for this kind of business to really work? And then when they don't, that why has to be emotional and that why has to also be financial. Otherwise, the resistance that this business creates doesn't overcome the lack of the whys that need to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think the financial obligations play a real big part in it. Like I talk about my situation, kind of having to get back out in the field after being on salary, earning some commissions too, but, still have bills, still have mortgage, still have all this other stuff, like what Nick was saying, people talking about people going out to buy like a new car or something. Heck, I've thought about that. I have a group of younger guys too. I feel like, what can I do to kind of motivate these guys? Maybe if they went out and had more bills, they'd be more focused to get out, on a regular basis. But right now they don't have the financial obligations like I do. I don't feel like I work any different now than I ever have, though. I think, I don't know, maybe it does take a certain type of person to do what we do. I think some people are comfortable just being on a salary, having that guaranteed income. They don't care if it's $60,000 a year because they know that that's always going to be there. Where me, like I wouldn't be able to survive on that sort of money. So, and with my background, my education, I mean, the only way I know to make the kind of money that I want to make is to be doing what I'm currently doing. So, I mean, outside of this, I don't know, maybe there's other ways to do it, but like I said, this is the best way I know to do it.
Nick, any closing thoughts? We've been on for 36 minutes. We've got a good amount of viewership. We've got hundreds of these once they get posted. I know we went live on at least my page and 200-300 people watched it after it was live. So someone out there sees it and it benefits them. Any closing thoughts, since I don't know if we're going to be able to get together and do this again in August?
Yeah. Buy leads. Go buy leads. Please go buy leads. Everybody just buy leads. Your life will be so much easier if you just buy leads. Stop fighting the idea that you don't need to buy leads. There are going to be so many people who will tell you you don't need to buy leads. And you know what? They're right. You do not need to buy leads, but you should anyway. Go buy leads. It'll make your life easier. You will be a happier person. You will be working less hard and making more money. Go buy leads.
Well said. There's plenty of time to complain if you don't know what to do. Adam, closing thoughts. Appreciate you being here with us this afternoon.
Sure. I think about this a lot. I'm 42 years old. I don't want to have to work as hard as I work right now when I'm 60 years old or 65 years old. Like, I want to be pretty much done by then. And so I guess my word of advice would be to, even people younger than me, like, put in as much time as you can while you're young, and be as successful as you can. So you don't have to think about, am I always going to have to work this way? Am I always going to have to work this hard? Like I said, my goal is to be done, by the time I'm 55 or 60. And like I said, I feel like I'd be further ahead if maybe just stuck with one place and didn't hop around. This is like my third go around. I don't plan on going anywhere from here, but, find a plan, stick to it, work as hard as you can so you can retire young.
Well said. There is a big picture. There is a big vision. There's a legacy each and every one of us can create if we just buy leads, go to work, stop bitching, and help people. Appreciate you guys watching today, tomorrow, or 10 years from now. Maybe by the time you watch, we will be retired on a beach somewhere in Puerto Rico. Appreciate you guys being here, and we'll check in next time.